racer lost his life on this speedway. It was in the early laps of Winston Cup practice. Kenny Irwin came down the back straightaway. Apparently his throttle stuck, and in a crash eerily reminiscent of Adam Petty's, slammed headlong into the turn 3 wall. The car slid along, ending on its roof. Rescue workers quickly on the scene, but little could be done. Irwin spent his first 2 seasons in Winston Cup with Robert Yates Racing, winning a pole position and Rookie of the Year honors in 1998. This season, he drove for Felix Sabates. But like most kids growing up in Indy, he dreamed of racing open wheels, winning the USAC National Midget Championship and Rookie of the Year honors in its Sprint Car and Silver Crown divisions. NASCAR beckoned, and he came to the Craftsman Truck Series driving for Jim Herrick and Brad Doherty, winning twice, and also being named the series Rookie of the Year. Kenny Irwin was 30 years old.
I'm ready.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Let's go to the starting grid and Dick Bergman.
Thanks, Mike. Today it is a somber pit area. A shaken group of people prepare in disbelief to race again against the background of yet another tragedy. The drivers' wives, their families, they worry the most. They gathered in the garage area, trying to persuade each other and perhaps themselves that their man would be okay, not just in today's race, but in the many to follow. But they all know that this is motorsports, and there is danger in here and here. Kenny Irwin was a star in this series. He was well known to all of the people that you will see on television today. I spoke with many of them today. All are devastated. We at CBS knew and cared for Kenny Irwin as well, and we are all deeply saddened. But there is a race to run. Kenny Irwin will be in our thoughts and on our minds as it goes on. Terrell Shaheen.
Trying to find the words to describe the sense of loss is impossible to do. Trying to find the words to console each other and comfort each other to try to make sense out of what seems like another senseless loss is an even tougher thing to do. I spoke to the drivers this morning in the garage area, and they said for them, now the most difficult task is to find the courage that they have to summon up to now drive 200 laps around this 1-mile oval. The grieving process will have to end for a little while. Racing as a sport is a very tough thing. Today, it will be brutally tough.
Buddy Baker, Ned Jarrett, makes it a very difficult day to go racing here.
Mike, you're exactly right. Far too many times Ned Jarrett and I had to face the same thing these drivers are facing today. Getting in the car after losing a very good friend to a fatality on the racetrack. But it's our sport. It's a chosen sport that we love. And these guys will deal with it today just like we have in the past. Ned, it's tough, though.
Well, it is tough, buddy, but Kenny Irwin would want this race to go on. That's the kind of fellow that he was, even though we do it with sad hearts. It's going to be a tough race for these guys, not only because of what's in their heart, but also because of this tough racetrack. There's a lot of slipping and sliding out here when the tires get heated up, and those that have their trucks set up so that they can accelerate fully off the turns are usually the ones that prevail here.
Well, let's get down to it for 200 laps and have a look at the starting lineup for today's running of the New Hampshire 200. Fifth pole of the year for veteran Joe Ruttman, and Greg Biffle has won 4 of the last 6 truck races. He's the point leader. Ken Schrader makes his second start of the year, and defending race champ Dennis Setzer, row 2. Kurt Busch, who got his first career win in Milwaukee last week in row 3 with Andy Houston, the 98 winner. Jimmy Hensley and Michael Dawkin makes his first top 10 start this year. Row 5, Rick Crawford with 8 top 10s this season, and Randy Tolsma with 2 runner-up finishes. Rookie Scott Riggs with 5 top 10s and 8 starts this year, and Brian Repker 5th at Texas and Kentucky. Terry Cook 4th at Daytona, and Bobby Hamilton the Martinsville winner. IMSA driver Rob Morgan in the top 10 at Kentucky, and Tom Carey from Orange, Massachusetts. Row 9, Lance Norrick 7th in Milwaukee, and Ricky Hendricks 6th at Colorado. 10th row, Steve Grissom, who was 4th in Milwaukee, and Marty Houston, who finished 4th at Kentucky. Then Mike Wallace, the winner at Daytona and Bakersfield, and Brad Bennett from Connecticut making his second start here. Jack Sprague, the 2-time series champion, and Randy McDonald in row 12. Coy Gibbs, that's Joe Gibbs' 27-year-old son, and Carlos Contreras, who was 8th 2 weeks ago at the Glen. Then it's Lance Hooper, the West Coast star, and Steve Prescott, the former Pro Truck champ from Maine. Robbie Thompson, the Canadian, and Rick Corelli, who was 3rd here 3 years ago. Ryan McGlynn from Pennsylvania makes his 3rd start of the year, and Andy Gensman, a New Hampshire rookie, as is Wayne Edwards and Jim Englebright from California.
Manufacturers breakdown today. In today's field, there'll be 17 Chevrolets, 9 Fords, and 8 Dodges. Ford holds the edge over Chevrolet with 7 wins to their 5.
And never mind these statistics, it is a perfect Chamber of Commerce day here in New Hampshire. A beautiful day to go racing.
There are 34 trucks starting today's race. They go 200 laps. That's a little over 211 miles. The purse, over $455,000. The fuel window, 70 to 75 laps. The race record was set back in 1998 at over 104 miles an hour by Andy Houston.
Track description. It's a 1 mile, little over a mile track, as a matter of fact. 12-degree banking in the turns, straightaways flat. Straightaways 1,500 feet.
Getting set for the green flag. We'll be riding along with 8 CBS onboard cameras today.
Trucks off, get ready.
Including the pole sitter, Joe Ruttman.
All we can do is stay in line. Green, 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 green.
Go, 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 go.
Greg Biffle battling Ruttman for the lead. Ruttman comes right back at him in the backstretch.
Pretty impressive. Biffle was able to hang on that outside because usually, at least in the early going, that inside groove is the preferred one.
Well, you see him right now fighting back. Biffle on the outside there. Joe Ruttman on the inside. They head down the front straightaway here. It's a 3-truck battle for the lead.
5th race Joe Ruttman has led this year, but only the 2nd since Bakersfield. Let's ride with him on our Dana camera.
Looking back at Kenny Schrader there, he made a great run coming out of the corner there. Now he looks to the lead down the back straightaway, Nick.
Kenny Schrader does not run many of these truck races, but he's trying to make the best of it here today. As he goes down into turn 3, he'll take the lead, Mike.
And he opens the door for Greg Biffle. That red and black Roush Ranger number 50 comes up the inside, and it's the first truck race that Schrader has led since Richmond in September of '97.
And notice Kurt Busch there in the 99 truck, this truck right here. He won last week in Milwaukee, making himself known right now as he moves up past Joe Ruttman.
Front 4 single file. Ruttman slots in 4th, and now Andy Houston 5th. Here's the race for 6th place. Jimmy Hensley, number 16, and it's Setzer hard in the wall.
He did. I don't know if he locked the brakes or what happened, but boy, he did go hard into that wall.
More trucks involved there. That's Jack Sprague, number 24, on fire there.
Rob Morgan and Sprague piled in. It did not look as if Setzer had steering control or brakes as that car came off the wall.
Look, both sides of the front of the truck is just crammed in. The back is, there's Mike Wallace getting out of his truck.
That's Jack
Sprague,
yeah.
beg your pardon.
Jack Sprague looking over his truck. That's a good sight to see him. Look at the damage to the front there. Oh, my goodness.
And a little fuel fire underneath the hood. And Sprague, the 2-time series champion, will score minimal points today.
Certainly.
Rob Morgan was also involved. Let's drove away.
Sprague was in the hunt, or still is, or was before today. This is going to be a big hit as far as the championship chase is concerned.
And Dennis Setzer there, he was winner last year here, and boy, that truck, and he took a wallop on going into turn 3.
The Mopar Performance Cam right there as you see the record crew move into position. Let's see what happened to Dennis Setzer here.
Well, he was on the outside of Jimmy Hensley going. It looks like the left front wheel is definitely locked.
He's got the brakes on there, trying to slow the truck down. He got in the loose stuff on the outside there. There's a tremendous amount of dirt and rubber buildup on the high side of the racetrack. He locked the brakes down, trying to slow the truck down. Of course, when he did that, he lost the steering totally.
Another look.
See it go straight, though. Mike, that looked like something might have broke on the truck because he was trying to turn it and nothing happened.
Look how far back that left front wheel is in the wheel well. Well, it was pointed fairly straight at that time. We can only speculate, but certainly the left front brake did lock.
And how Mike Wallace and the 2 truck got through there, I'll never know. Now, he's on the outside there. There was no contact between he and Jimmy Hensley. He just goes straight up, makes hard contact into the wall there.
And then as the force of hitting the wall sort of brings the truck back down across the track. And this is what the others were hitting. Here's what Mike Wallace saw.
Well, buddy, you wondered how he got through here? Here's how.
What's this?
Boy, that was a great piece of driving. Heads up.
On board with Dennis Setzer. That's Andy Houston just ahead.
You know, I heard like a tire fluttering just before he got to the wall. Like the right front might have gone flat down at the far end of the back straightaway. But on replay there, you could hear the tire fluttering as he was headed towards the wall.
Certainly a hard lick by Dennis Setzer.
And the truck now being loaded up. And onto the rollback truck. And
Mike,
Setzer has climbed out of the truck, we're told.
Mike, you can have a leak and a tire like that, and you feel it going flat, and there's not one thing you can do except try to slow the truck down just a little bit.
Of course, the field has been stopped over going into turn 3.
Now, Jack Sprague was the point-standing runner-up, just 82 points behind Greg Biffle coming into this race, and his truck is damaged perhaps beyond repair. Dennis Setzer was 8th in the championship standings as this wreck happens on lap 4, and it brings the field to a red flag very quickly in the opening laps of the New Hampshire 200. We'll be right back.
It was our dream to make Pop Secret Microwave Pop.
That Dodge Ram, the right front is pushed right back to the door. Here is another look at what happened entering turn 3 on lap 4.
He was on the outside of Jimmy Hensley, and then all of a sudden, the smoke starts coming from the front wheels. The wheels are locked up.
Now Setzer's pretty much along for the ride, and when they get double wide behind him,
Rob Morgan in the 46 hits him first and turns him up. Then Jack Sprague comes along, just a victim of circumstances, nowhere to go.
We're going to show you once again from on board. Let's watch and listen. Good thing that's a tough truck.
Yeah, and you could hear just before he got to the wall, the outer tire went down.
There's Rob Morgan's truck with right front damage. And again, Dennis Setzer and Jack Sprague both climbed out of their trucks okay. Dick Berggren?
Well, Dennis Setzer's spotter said he did a little bit more than just climb out, that he actually walked to the ambulance. I was listening to the radio, however, Howard Comstock has taken a look at that truck, Mike, and he has declared it done for the day. Sprague's truck looks absolutely horrible. It just came by my position. If he get that one back on the racetrack, it will be a miracle. Mike?
Sprague coming into this race second in points. And there's Morgan's crew at work.
Well, I think they got a lot of work to do yet, Mike, on that truck. That right front wheel that had a lot more camber in it than it started the race with, and looked like the wheel was pointed out a little bit too, so the toe end was out.
Well, the great news on that wreck was he did walk.
That's true. There's the Mopar cam from Dennis Setzer, and we're not going to see many pictures from that today. Here is Mike Wallace. This is the Team ASE camera on board his Ford, Jim Smith truck. Bobby Hamilton will have one of our CBS race cams. That's a Dana cam on board his pickup, making a guest appearance. His teammate, Joe Ruttman. Now, Bobby Hamilton owns both those trucks. That's another Dana cam on board Ruttman's number 18. Randy Tolsma, the Citgo SuperGuard motor oil camera on board the number 25. Kenny Schrader, also making a guest star appearance. That's the Federated Auto Parts camera on board Schrader's number 52. He is the race leader. Andy Houston, the Cat Rental Stores camera, is in the number 60 truck. And West Coast driver Jim Engelbright in the 02, and that is a very bright paint job. There are jelly bellies all over it. They sponsor that onboard camera. One to go. We're going to go back to racing. We have now completed 6 laps, the last 3 of which run under a red flag and then a caution. Well, will Jack Sprague get back in this race? Wow.
Certainly a lot of work to do if they do, because you'll have to replace the radiator and most of those front end parts, and who knows what it might have done in the engine compartment.
Putting the Sawzall to work there underneath the hood to try to free it up. Coming into today, Jack Sprague was just 82 points behind Greg Biffle. Sprague led the standings 5 races ago, but he finished 28th in Texas, which knocked him to second. Andy Houston, Mike Wallace, Kurt Busch, and Randy Tolsma, the top half dozen.
Kenny Schrader.
Hi, Bobby.
Falling to the front pretty quickly here.
Schrader started third, getting set to go back to green. Chevy, Ford among the front 3, and we're racing.
Biffle tried to get a run on the inside going into turn 1, but Schrader would have nothing to do with that. Closed the door on him.
Buddy, Milwaukee was a flat track very much like this one. But any advantage Ford versus Chevy versus Dodge on these mile flat tracks?
I think you're pretty even. I know that the Chevrolets and Fords have been up front most of the year. Jack Sprague, unfortunately, is already out, but he has been a strong contender and has had many wins. The truck on the move right now, just behind this group, is Andy Houston. He was moving right up towards the front, and he has been really good, but he's hung on the outside now. If we look at these trucks, they're starting to run 2 by 2 in the corner. Back in that area there, going in the corners, you can see some of them already starting to try that outside line.
Biffle had a look on Schrader last time into turn 1. 5th place they are side by side.
That's Andy Houston in the 60, the red and yellow truck there. And just below him, Jimmy Hensley in the 16. And there's Randy Tolsma. You see these guys now no longer afraid to try that outside line.
Houston had made a run on Joe Ruttman a couple of laps ago when you were talking about him, and it looked like he was trying to take 4th place, and he had to really back out on him, and Hensley got a run on him going into the corner and got up beside him. But now Houston has pulled back out and has 5th place to himself at the moment.
Upper left of your screen, you see a driver whose position box is in green. He's moved up in the last lap. A driver whose position number box is red has dropped a spot in the last lap. Let's have a look at the gauges on Randy Tolsma's Dodge. Oh, trouble. 75 is around. That's Marty Houston.
Not sure he hit anything, Mike. If nobody doesn't hit him, he's trying to get it fired and does, and moves away.
And that fire you see coming out of the exhaust, that's unspent fuel. When he cranked it up, the air and the fuel got together there, and it makes that little puff of fire, but there's nothing wrong when they do that.
And there's no caution. We stay green at 11 laps. Schrader in white and blue, the leader. In red and black, Greg Biffle running in second.
Chevrolet out front and Ford in second.
And third. Kurt Busch is also in 3rd place, just behind team trucks there.
Let's go to Dick Bergman.
Jack Sprague is walking at a hurried pace back to his garage to see his truck. That was a hard hit. You hurting anywhere?
Well, it wasn't too bad for me. I mean, it looked worse than it was. I saw smoke. My spotter said he's up high, and so I went to the bottom, and he come back across in front of me. Never saw him coming, so that's what happens when you qualify back there.
Okay, get that truck ready. This guy went 2.5 years before a single DNF, Mike. If he doesn't make it back today, it's going to be 3 in half of this season.
Well, he started deep in the field, Dick. 23rd position. That's what Sprague was referring to.
That's uncharacteristic, really, of he and that team.
Yes. Schrader, 52, the leader. Greg Biffle in second. You've got a Winston Cup veteran against a real up-and-comer.
Yeah, you got that right. They'll rub paint in years to come because Schrader loves to race anything. That's what he's doing today. Winston Cup tomorrow. Today he's having a great time out there. I'm going to tell you, they drop a checkered flag or a green flag, he wants to be in the event.
Take a look at Marty Houston's spin there a moment ago.
There's Houston on the inside in blue.
The Spears truck. They make a little contact there.
Yep, that's Tom Carey on the outside. The Massachusetts driver.
Corey Gibbs in the 20 just to get by on the high side.
Contreras as well. And Marty is still running. It's been a tough week for the Houston family. They lost their grandmother in the early part of this week. Andy and Marty coming to the racetrack a little late in the game here after being with the family back in Hickory, North Carolina. Our sympathies with them.
Certainly so. That's a real close-knit family, and our sympathy does go out to them. And Greg Biffle just simply cannot find a way around Kenny Schrader. Kenny Schrader knows his way around this racetrack. He's had a lot of success in the Winston Cup. He hasn't won. Sat on the pole several times and has led some laps here and been a front runner in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, and showing that he knows the way around here today.
Let's get an update on Dennis Setzer from Dick.
Well, they decided that they're going to take him off to a local hospital, Mike. He is awake, he is alert, no serious injuries there, but he's pretty well bruised up, so they're going to cart him out of here just to make sure that he is entirely okay.
Thanks, Dick. Greg Biffle has 4 wins this season, including 3 in a row. Here's a look at the pack chasing him from Andy Houston on back. That's Tolsma on the left of your screen, 25, 16 Jimmy Hensley.
Brian Refner in the 3 truck just behind that group.
And then Bobby Hamilton trails that group in the number 4.
Hamilton is in 9th, and right behind him is Rick Crawford in the 10th position.
Talk about some RPM. Did you see that? 88, 8,900 down the straightaway. The Dodges turn a tremendous amount of RPM down the straightaway to get the power to run with Chevrolets and Fords. I talked to Joe Ruttman, and he says, you won't believe what we turn just to keep up.
Well, that 8,800, as you say, that is cranking it on up there.
And look at the differential. They're down to 6,000 RPM in the middle of the corner, so that's a long pull down the straightaway from these tight turns. At the front, Biffle had another look to the inside. But Schrader's got a pretty wide tailgate on that Chevrolet.
It looks like Biffle may have a better truck getting in the corner. Schrader has a better truck from the center part of the corner out to the straightaway.
19 laps complete here at New Hampshire. Ken Schrader, the leader, over Greg Biffle. That Chevy leading forward. We've had 1 red flag for Dennis Setzer's wreck. We'll be right back. Speedway, 25 laps have been completed, and Ken Schrader is out front. Greg Biffle running in 2nd. His teammate Kurt Busch in 3rd. Joe Ruttman in 4th. Randy Tolsma, Andy Houston, Bobby Hamilton, and Brian Refner, the leaders.
Boy, you just watch Kurt Busch, that 3rd truck right there. I'll tell you, he's a tiger. He reminds me of Tony Stewart when the race gets going. He just seems to get in the zone, and once he gets in that zone, he just starts picking them off. He's a very talented rookie driver.
He drives for Jack Roush. Roush has 5 Winston Cup cars, and he's going to move Greg Biffle up into the Busch Grand National Series next year. Chad Little is leaving the Roush Cup team. A spot is open, and Kurt Busch is already on the payroll. What do you think?
Well, I think Jack Roush will be taking a big step, putting an absolute rookie in the Winston Cup, but we've seen him come before, maybe with a little more experience than he has, but Jack Roush thinks a lot of this young man. He said he adapts to racetracks better than anybody that he has seen.
Now, that decision's not yet been made. There are several candidates for that 97 car for next season, but certainly Kurt Busch is on that list and deserves to be.
And the good part is Chad Little will land somewhere. He's a very talented driver, too, just like Johnny Benson was let go a couple of years ago, and he certainly made a great name for himself. So just by being released does not mean it's the end of your racing career.
We watch from Randy Tolsma, looking back at Andy Houston. These are 5th and 6th place. Sorry, that's Bobby Hamilton right with them.
Yeah, in the black blue truck. And Tolsma had passed Andy Houston, pulled away for a little bit, buddy, but now Houston is closing back in. So I don't know if Tolsma is slowing down or Houston picking up.
Well, we're getting to the point now, Ned, and so many times on these types of tracks where it's flat, the balance of the truck will really make a difference. And the tires are getting worn down, the fuel load's getting lighter, and these trucks change as they go along through this transition. So what's good right now may not be good 20 laps from now.
It says Andy Houston in the red and yellow, number 60. Bobby Hamilton in blue and white, number 4, trying to take that position away. Gets the nose on the inside of him.
Hamilton's already come up 7 spots in this race, from 14th to 7th. Makes the pass. Get a little more on Andy Houston from Ralph.
Mike, the biggest thing for Andy Houston right now is he's got to work on the entry into the corner. That's where he seems to be losing the most speed on the racetrack. Getting in the corner as they come down the straightaway carrying so much speed, but you got to be able to find that fine edge between going in very deep to carry as much speed as you can without going too deep and not being able to get the very important drive back out of the turn.
30 laps complete. Schrader continues to hold the front spot. There's Andy Houston, who runs it in 7th. Here's the lead battle with Greg Biffle, just a couple of truck lengths back. So far in this quadruple header weekend, you have to be the son of a racer to win. John Blewett III won the 100-lap modified race that had 30 lead changes officially, actually over 50 times the lead changed hands. And this morning, Martin Truex Jr., whose dad won the first Busch North race here at New Hampshire some years ago, the 19-year-old went to victory lane.
Where would you say Ned would fit into this equation that you're talking about?
I'd say Sunday looks pretty good.
Oh, the records don't go that far back, dude.
Oh, come on.
Well, these trucks are just so evenly matched right at the moment. It's hard to say who's got what right now. Biffle's right in the tire tracks through Kenny Schrader, our leader, as they go through the corner. I'm looking for something you would work on as far as maybe a weakness. I don't see one.
They have pulled away a little bit, Schrader and Biffle, from the third-place truck of Kurt Busch. Not too far, but he was right up there on their bumper a few laps ago, and you can see the distance there now.
Schrader, Biffle, and Kurt Busch in 3rd. Then Joe Ruttman, trouble down at turn 1, smacking the wall, and another hard right front hit, and the driver is out very quickly.
That's Lance Norick, and he's getting out of that truck. Anytime you see fire under that hood when it's cocked up on one side, the first thing you want to do is put about 30 yards in between you and the truck.
He got out of it. The safety workers were there very quickly to extinguish that fire.
Not quite evident what happened, Ned. There's a skid mark leading up to the turn 1 wall and a tire mark, but I'm not sure if that's from Norick's truck or if it may have been from the Busch North race earlier today. Norick had his best finish of the season last week in Milwaukee, 7th. But this mile track not kind to him today, and we're under caution for the second time today at lap 34.
And this is somewhat of a break for Marty Houston, who had spun earlier. No caution when he spun, and the leaders were not too far from putting him a lap down. So this lets him catch up now, so a good break for Marty.
So 34 laps are complete. Ken Schrader leads. Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch. CBS Sports coverage of the New Hampshire 200 continues after this message and a word from your CBS station. As the hook is going to pull him back to the garage. 36 laps complete. Ken Schrader did not make a pit stop under this caution, but many of the others did that were running up front. Let's have a look at pit stops. Kurt Busch on the upper left of your screen. In the middle, the red truck is Greg Biffle, and at the bottom left is Joe Ruttman. Now look at the bottom right where that Dodge is being worked on. They're going to drop Ruttman, and he's going to just jump right out in front of traffic.
Boy, he did. Steve Grissom was in there in the truck number 43. He made a great pit stop.
He did. Grissom comes up to 9th on the leaderboard. So Schrader, the leader, and Michael Dokken, who did not pit, moves up into 2nd place. 37 laps complete. We'll come back for the green flag after this. Wave the green flag for the restart here at New Hampshire. 39 laps complete. That's Schrader out front, right where he's been most all day. Michael Dokken did not pit. He is 2nd. Ricky Hendrick, in only his 2nd Truck Series start, is 3rd. Steve Prescott, the New England Pro Truck champion, is 4th, and Brad Bennett from out of the Busch North Series battles for 5th. They did not pit. Everyone else did.
Greg Biffle in the truck number 50 came out first of those who did pit, so he restarted the race in 6th position. He changed tires, right side tires.
You saw that light blue truck of Ruttman's, that jump he got out in front of traffic, got him a lot of good track position.
Well, I'll tell you, this is heavy traffic right here. Andy Houston goes between a couple of trucks there.
That was, and the 27 truck, there was 3 wide there was Andy Ginsman. He was caught on the outside. Again, he's hung on the outside as they come through the corner.
Ginsman falling to, he's a lap down. Being passed by the leaders who jockey for position. Mid-pack. Oh, and he gets into him, and Ginsman's going to go around hard into the wall. And he takes the number 9 of Lance Hooper with him.
And he slides up in front of the truck number 72 of Randy McDonald.
Poor Randy. He's about the most luckless fellow that's been in this truck series. Things just happen right in front of him. He had a hole to go through, but it closed right up. And there's Hooper. The West Coast Star, damage to the left front of his Ford.
And that was one thing. The 27 there, Ginsman, just couldn't get out of the way. He's having trouble. I think I'd park that baby if I was him.
One truck got into the side of Gensman, and we'll wait for the replay. I have a number in mind,
Randy,
but we'll wait.
Randy, you're on fire, son. He's going along. He has no idea right at the moment how much flame he has on the bottom side.
He might. Look at all the smoke in the cockpit.
Yep.
Well, he figured it out there right quick. He's going to get out of that thing, which is a smart thing to do.
Spotters on the horn indicating McDonald stopped and out of that truck. 4th of July was last week. Fireworks, though, carry over to today.
Yeah, and he left just an oil trail all the way down the back straightaway behind this truck. They'll have to send a cleanup crew out there to take up all the oil that come out of the bottom side of that car.
First thing he wanted to do, though, was get out and see what was happening under there, see if it's something you could fix, get that truck back, and get him back out on the racetrack.
Fremont, Ohio's Andy Gensman climbing out. He is okay. And
See this, Mike? This is the oil trail that I'm talking about, all the way down the back straightaway there. They'll have to do something with that. That is very, very slick on these slick tires that they run on the trucks.
Brad Bennett, who did not make a pit stop under the prior caution, does, as does Steve Grissom and Steve Prescott. Let's see which of those blue trucks got into the side. Yes, it was the 3 of Brian Reffner. Just upsets the 27 of Gensman there.
Well, Gensman right there gets clipped. As he was caught on the outside 2 or 3 laps there and just trying to stay out of the way, and sometimes there's nowhere to go, and he got clipped a little bit, and just too bad.
Here comes poor old Randy McDonald, and the hole closes up on him.
Yeah, he thought when he made that decision to go high, he said, that's wide open up there. I got no problem. I can go up there and go around them. Then all of a sudden, that hole closed up on him.
McDonald was 6th at Daytona. There's only one top 15 finish since.
Boy, that was a good shot. You're right. Brian Reffner just got right up there and give him a clipping. Ow.
That's going to leave a mark.
Here it is again. Of course, you got that many trucks running that close together. There's several going to be involved.
Now, the spotter is telling McDonald the top side of the track is clear, and it is.
So then.
But Gensman's truck, apparently in all that wrecking, had lost its brakes, couldn't stop, came right up there in front of Randy McDonald.
Jim Engelbright you're riding with there. You see right now he's trying to get back up to speed, get out of there.
And now still 3 trucks have not made pit stops. Ken Schrader, Michael Dokken, and Ricky Hendrick, as they work on the number 9 of Lance Hooper. And since pit road has been open for a while, likely they are not going to stop under this caution.
Most of the time, if they're going to, they'll do it on the first lap that the pits are open.
Ralph, why has Ken Schrader not been to pit road?
Well, Mike, a couple of reasons. The first is the lap times on his tires. On the opening laps, he was running about a 30.80. And the last few laps, he's been running a 30.86. So consistency-wise, he's still right there as far as the consistency of the speed out of those tires. What they're really watching now is their fuel. Kenny's fuel window is about 75 laps, and they're really trying to keep an eye on these yellow flag laps, see how many they can get in and start doing the math on that. That could really come into play here for this team. The only thing that Kenny was concerned about was on the first caution, he thought he might have run over a piece of debris on the racetrack, but he said, guys, I'm sticking with it. We're staying out. I might have run over something, but I'm not too concerned about it yet.
Now, that green flag we saw does not restart the race. It merely signifies pit road is open. Dick Bergeron, the teams can take on as many as 2 tires, but no more on a caution flag pit stop. But that previous caution, some drivers took no tires.
Yeah, Bobby Hamilton was one of those, Mike. They talked it over, he and crew chief Fred Planky, and they simply decided that no tires was the answer because there is a limit to the number of tires that they can have here. They only get 4 sets. They've already burned up one of those sets in practice and qualifying, so they got just 3 for the race. So Hamilton's conserving his tires for the tail end.
Remember, too, Bobby Hamilton and Ken Schrader are here on guest appearances. They're here to win the race. They're not point chasing. They're not worried about the full season. They have one goal, and that's how do you win?
Exactly right. Figure out how you can win. Now, if this thing should go green for a while on Kenny Schrader, we've run 45 laps, and I'm sure that you mentioned that he's got about a 70-lap fuel window. That's only 25 laps from now, but these cautions will help some. So say he can get another 5 laps. So that's only going to be about 25 to 30 laps that he has to go. If this thing goes green, he's going to have to come in for gas. If he has to do that under the green flag, that's going to be a killer.
Good point, Ned. We're at 46 laps, and Schrader's about 30 laps from needing fuel. We'll be back to New Hampshire International Speedway right after this. Season.
Impressive start for that young man. Of course, he is the son of Rick Hendrick, who is a multi-car owner in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Pretty decent equipment, I think.
Yeah.
As good as it gets.
Well, we've raised the question of when Ken Schrader will have to pit. Let's find out from Ralph.
Wally Brown is Kenny Schrader's crew chief. Wally, what's your story as far as when you're going to pit? When you coming down here?
Well, that first caution came out lap 30 there, and we just felt that was a little too early to come in, and we kind of thought the rest of the guys would stick out there with us, but they all went with the 50 truck. So we're just going to ride, and, hopefully there's a caution closer to our range where we're hoping to pit close to lap 80. So.
Are you concerned that you might have to pit under green and then hang yourself out?
Oh, that's always a concern, but, we feel like, staying out was the right thing to do, so we're going to stick by it.
They're taking a gamble on it, Mike.
Yes, they are. They've got about 30 laps left in that fuel window.
Okay, so he said 80 laps. We were talking 70 earlier, so that gives him a little bit more.
And second place point man coming into this race, Jack Sprague. They have worked on that truck long enough to load it on the truck.
Yeah, and you look at that truck, and there should be stuff all the way out to here. So, yeah, that should be radiator and all kind of sheet metal and ductwork is gone. So it was too severe to go on.
And had to be a lot of front-end frame damage as well.
They will fix that truck to race again, but not today. Ron Hornaday won the inaugural Craftsman truck race here at Loudon. Jay Sauter, Andy Houston, and Dennis Setzer have been in victory lane just behind the front straightaway. And of those, only Andy Houston remains running in this race presently, and he is in the 10th position after his pit stop. Getting set to go green. Truck's 1 lap down on the inside. That includes the 93 of Wayne Edwards and the 00 of Ryan McGlynn.
Still 27 trucks on the lead lap.
Trucks in. Go. Ready. 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 Go, 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 go.
50 laps complete. We're back under green. Third place, Ricky Hendrick now with Biffle to the inside.
Boy, they stacked them up back there 3 wide as they headed down into turn 3. You can see this group back in here. A lot going on back there.
From Schrader, looking in his mirror at the battle behind him.
Only went up to about 8,500 RPMs on his truck.
Ricky Hendrick holds third. That's the black 00 of McGlynn. The leaders trying to work their way by on the outside. Ruttman and Hamilton, 2 blue Dodges.
Jimmy Hensley ran in there to make it 3 wide for a moment.
He got under Randy Tolsma in the 25. That didn't quite work.
Scott Riggs on the outside there in the 86. Oh, man, they almost got together. Randy Tolsma on it. With the 25 truck right here was really putting some pressure in.
Tolsma's got to go because he's got to get to the outside, and he does before he got to those lap trucks. Did that, but here comes Hensley, that white and black truck on the inside.
Mike, that just goes to show you don't have to watch the leader to get action. These guys are back in the middle part of the pack here trying to get back to the front, but great racing back in the pack.
And Greg Biffle has gone to third place. He's taken that from Ricky Hendrick. Trying to work lap traffic here.
And there were only, what, 3 of those trucks, or 2 or 3, whatever, and it's amazing that the jam up that it has caused. Everybody trying to get that track position.
Steve Grissom there in the red number 43, making it 3 wide there to get by lap traffic there coming up out of turn 2.
Now, Grissom stopped again on this second, the most recent caution flag. He had stopped on the first one when most others did.
And now just about all of the contenders are through the lap traffic. That's Wayne Edwards, 93, inside as the 40 of Brad Bennett goes past. Glenn caught on the high side. The lead lap trucks move underneath him. He's now to the back of the pack.
While we're watching all of that, Ken Schrader's just driven away. He's about a second and 3/4 ahead of the second place car, Michael Dawkins, second place truck of Michael Dawkins.
Watching from Andy Houston. And now from Mike Wallace at Andy Houston.
Mike holding a very tight line. These guys right here are not best of friends. Last weekend, they had some pretty good contact and a few words after getting together.
Ricky Hendrick losing a few spots here.
Houston thought he had a run on him, but couldn't quite make the pass going into the turn. Let's see if he can coming off.
Not this time. Let's check with Dick Berggren.
Well, the most interested observer to Ricky Hendrick is his dad, Rick. You've seen an awful lot of races, a lot of drivers, but how nerve-wracking is it to watch your kid out there?
This is the worst. No, I'll tell you, I'm not very good at this, watching my son race. We're real proud of him, but this is too tough.
All right, well, take a couple of antacids and give us a call in the morning.
Thank you, buddy.
Rick Hendrick will have a fleet of cars in tomorrow's Winston Cup race here at New Hampshire.
That's some pretty fast traffic he's in right there. Just in front of him is Kurt Busch, and he's holding his own right with Kurt Busch, and he's a leading rookie candidate, already won this year.
And at second place, there is Biffle moving to the inside of Michael Docken.
Now he's got almost 3 seconds to be able to catch Ken Schrader.
Bobby Hamilton, you're riding with him here. He moves right on by Docken also. It's the third spot there. These guys are flying up through there. And I tell you, Bobby Hamilton, he helps a lot of these guys with their trucks and their setup, but he is a master of the flat track.
Remember that Hamilton did not take on tires when he made his pit stop, only fuel. Biffle, now what was he signaling there to Hamilton?
To go by. Biffle wasn't going to battle. He feels that maybe Hamilton has a little bit better truck right now. So he said, go ahead. I'm not going to battle you. It's too early in the race.
Yeah, and it's something we talked about a while ago. The big picture, the championship. Greg Biffle's definitely in the points race right now, and you ride a little differently.
Ken Schrader is the leader, buddy, at 3.3 seconds in trouble. Turn 2 trucks up in the wall. Brian Refner is one of them.
Jimmy
and the 16, yep. Boy, it looks like the whole right side's been torn off Hensley's truck.
Hensley's coming out. He's got a fire under that truck, too, so he's undoing his seat belts and trying to get away from his radio equipment. Plugging the fresh air hook up to the helmet there.
Looks back there, and now he sees that damage. But you're right, Mike, the other side might be the worst as he waves to the fans, say, I'm okay.
Brian Refner was also involved, and Refner getting unhooked to climb out. Boy, this track has damaged some trucks today. Jimmy Hensley earlier today stood up on the pit wall, watched the Busch North race as an interested spectator.
And that's the corner workers there in the yellow suits with the helmets on also. That's not the driver, Brian Refner, back there. Hensley waves to the crowd. That's good to see.
And waves goodbye to that truck.
Had a good run going today.
Yeah, he'd been in the top 10 all day now.
Yes.
Right.
Mike, that small amount of fire you could see up under Hensley's truck, years back when we had the old metal tanks in these things, that would have been a massive fire right there. Very lucky to have those safety tanks in these trucks.
You're right, buddy. Schrader will pit. He will lead Michael Dokken down pit road, Ricky Hendrick. And we'll go to the leaders, Pitt and Ralph.
Well, Mike, they're looking for a 9-second stop is what they're hoping for. They keep yelling over the radio, slow and easy, guys. Everybody get your lug nuts, get the jack under there just right, take your time. They want Kenny to make sure he gets the wheels straight because the fender wells are a little tight on this truck. So we're going to see exactly how Kenny Schrader's crew does. Just right side tires and fuel, no adjustments. They want to make sure they bring the tires back around and set to go. This will be a little bit slower than 9 seconds. I've got it just about, well, actually just about at 10 seconds. So they're right in the zone they were looking for.
Well, 4 trucks beat them off pit road.
Yeah, it was not the kind of stop that they were looking for there, because Ricky Hendrick, several others beat him off the pit road. So we'll see how good that truck is coming from in the pack. It was certainly good up front.
Rick Corelli, Mike Wallace among those that got off pit road ahead of Ken Schrader. So the field will jumble. Bobby Hamilton's the leader, and we'll be back to Loudon, New Hampshire after this message and a word from your CBS station.
Of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's sponsored by www.wrenchhead.com. Parts online all the time. Linex Spray-On Bed Liners. Truck bed protection for life. And by Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn. Perfect popcorn is our passion.
Well, the record driver may have led the most laps today. Here is Jimmy Hensley's truck being hauled in behind the wall as Brian Reffner's comes into the garage from the other direction. They have brought out the 4th and most recent caution of the day. The first was Dennis Setzer down in turn 3. Apparently a left front tire went down on Setzer. Second caution involved at lap 34 Lance Norrick. And the third accident at lap number 42, Andy Gensman, tied up with a 9 of Lance Hooper, and then this one for Reffner getting together with Hensley down in turn 1.
A lot of damage done to some of these trucks, Mike, as they hit the wall hard. You know, the groove is down on the inside of this racetrack, and when they get into trouble, it's a long way to that wall, and, buddy, they don't have a lot to stop them between the time they get in trouble.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And what Ned's talking about, this is the groove right here. This part up in here has got all kind of dust and dirt and everything already up there, and used rubber off the tires that it has been ground off and sent up to the high side of the racetrack. You get up in here, it's dusty, and I'm telling you right now, you got your hands full. It does not slow the trucks down. When they go in there and get up there, they slide right up to the wall, and there's no banking there to scrub off speed. So you just hit the wall a ton.
Well, so far, 24 of the drivers of the 34 starters have survived the first 64 laps. Wednesday on CBS. For 6 weeks, those survivor tribes have competed against each other. Now they unite, and it's every man and woman for themselves. Who will survive? Don't miss the #1 show in America, an all-new Survivor. That's Wednesday at 8, 7 Central on CBS.
Thank goodness they finally got some clothes on that one guy that run around there naked all the time.
Well, that's a rating point right there, buddy.
It is for
At least
me.
one. Let's get an update from Ken Schrader's pit, Ralph.
Mike, remember when I said that Kenny had decided to stay out on the racetrack even though he thought he might have cut something as he rolled over it on the racetrack? Well, look at right here. A big blister showed up on the right front tire, but the crews and the Goodyear technicians have looked at it, and they think that Kenny did cut the tire down, and then it heated up and started to blister up on him, but it's all the way down to the cords down here, so he got very lucky and made it in just when he needed to, or he would have had a real big problem with that tire. Dick Bergen?
I think there are as many people in the garage right now working on trucks as there are on pit road. This is Dennis Setzer's truck, which you can see is incredibly wrecked. Rob Morgan, Robbie Thompson are both on pit road. The Brian Reffner truck has just been loaded behind me. This place is absolutely packed with people, Mike, some of whom are actually trying to get this wreckage back on the Speedway. Why not? With this many DNFs, a fellow could pick up some points.
This morning it was a truck yard. Now, junkyard.
I've got a theory on the one truck. I think they might be doing that just to get it back up on the truck because everything on it was pushed all the way back into the firewall.
We're going green this time, buddy, and it is Bobby Hamilton.
Ready.
He's entered 4 Craftsman truck races this year, and he's led every one of them.
Go, 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 go.
He's out front as we go back to green. Greg Biffle right behind him, then Hamilton's teammate, Joe Ruttman.
Only one lap truck down on the inside that time.
Greg Biffle trying to put a little heat on him there as they go through the corner. They were inches apart. And then this division, don't think they won't put a bumper on you. They'll touch you. They'll let you know I'm back here. I won't buy you.
Give them a little tailgate talk, huh, buddy?
Oh, yeah, they'll do that.
Mike Wallace. And from Bobby Hamilton, looking back at Greg Biffle. That's the leader.
Driving a Dodge. Here comes that Ford on the inside of Biffle. He's got to run.
Boy, did he ever get a great run up as they go side by side down in turn 3. Biffle takes him.
Greg Biffle has now led in 12 of the 15 races this year, and he's led all 9 races on tracks 1 mile or over. Ride with Joe Ruttman.
I think right at the moment they may have the air pressures in the tires on the 4 of Bobby Hamilton down just a little bit to get maximum grip. When the air pressure starts to build up and the tire really gets a better grip on the racetrack, it'll take him a few laps to get the air pressures up, though.
Of course, he didn't take on tires when he made his pit stop, did he? And so that might be hurting him some here right now.
That might be why he's not running then. I was trying to figure out what he was doing here. He's still turning 8,800 down the straightaway, Ruttman is.
Let's get more from Ralph.
Well, Joe Ruttman is driving a truck, Mike, that's known as Catfish. It's the oldest one in the stable. It won the race at Phoenix earlier this year and sat on the pole. The reason why it earned the nickname Catfish is these bodies, of course, are all gray when they first put them on. And with the fenders flared out at the front, all the guys who are pretty much from the southeast said, hey, you know what? Oh, it's a lot like those catfish we go fishing for.
I thought they were talking about Ruttman since he's the oldest driver in the field by 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I tell you one thing, there's a lot of knowledge there. And it goes back. His brother won the Indianapolis 500, Troy Ruttman, years and years back.
1952, I believe, youngest driver to win it. 5th place battle. Here comes Rick Crawford up the inside, number 14. Hang on. Well, he leaves a little room on Andy Houston there. Right behind him, Tom Carey, the yellow truck, the Busch North driver. Battles. On board Andy Houston. Looking back at Rick Crawford, number 14.
Tolzman, the truck number 25, the yellow and black multicolored truck.
Ned, as we watch him race back in the pack here, whatever Bobby Hamilton had wrong with the truck for the first 3 or 4 laps there, he checked out again. He passed the leader and went on.
Well, you wondered if he possibly would have let Biffle by to lead a couple of laps so he'd get bonus points. I don't know. I mean, you know, that's a Dodge letting a Ford by. Hard likely.
I would hardly think
okay.
that, but you never know. I mean, Bobby Hamilton is not in the points race, so it wouldn't bother him either way.
Well, as we saw, Biffle got just a great run off turn number 2. And remember earlier when Biffle waved, and was that Ruttman or was that Hamilton he waved by and said, go ahead, take the lead. You want it, take it. Maybe that was Bobby returning the favor. And then he saw that his truck was actually faster than Biffle's once tires got back up to temperature.
Whatever it was, he's got it all together right now because he has about a 5 or 6 truck length lead now.
Let's find out more from Dick.
Well, I asked crew chief Fred Wanke, I said, you know, what happened that you guys just slowed down? We're all arguing amongst ourselves. He said, well, just takes us a little time to get going. He is not excited other than the fact that they know that they've got the best truck here. Mike, this morning I went through the garage, talked to a lot of the drivers, and they all said that they were most worried about that number 4 truck. Hamilton is really fast.
Side by side right there. 4th place changes hands. Randy Tolzma against Kurt Busch. And it's Tolzma moving up to 4th. Hard to get a straight answer out of Fred Wanke, Bobby Hamilton's crew chief. He is one of the biggest practical jokers in the garage area. I wish I could elaborate, but I can't.
Anybody that's ever worked with Darrell Waltrip would have that tendency.
Yep. 74 of 200 laps complete. You ride with Randy Tolzma, who has moved up to 4th. Behind this man, Bobby Hamilton, Greg Biffle, and Joe Ruttman. We'll be right back to New Hampshire.
Ford, the latest innovations, the greatest tradition.
After 78 laps, 4 different leaders, 5 lead changes, 4 cautions for 23 laps, and there are 9 drivers whose trucks are being worked on in the garage area. There they are. And except for Thompson's number 31, they're all crash damage.
A lot of damaged trucks in the garage here.
So now we're at 80 laps, and Greg Biffle has assumed the lead.
Yeah, and Andy Houston, one of the top-running trucks all the time out here, made a quick stop down there, and I didn't see him do anything but go to the front of the truck and look like a kid was trying to kick the front valence or something. I can't figure out what was going on, but he certainly dropped out of contention.
We'll find out. Here is the latest pass for the lead, buddy. This is Biffle, and again, that power move off the corner.
Yeah, I don't know whether the used tires are beginning to be a factor right now on Hamilton's truck or not, but boy, I mean, he made it look so easy. When Biffle got up there, he just turned left, went right by him, and just powered off the corner.
They better not look back, because here comes that 25 truck of Randy Tolsma. He has come from pretty far back and has run these front three trucks down.
Let's find out what happened to Andy Houston. Dick?
Well, his radiator area, Mike, had built up with rubber from tires from some of the trucks in front of him. Engine began to overheat. So he came in, made that quick pit stop. They just kicked the nose of the truck. That knocked the rubber off it, threw a little bit of fuel in it, and he was gone. But everybody here has seen what happens now when you pit under green. And Hamilton sure is going to do that to get tires.
Yeah, Andy Houston has now dropped to 22nd position and has fallen off the lead lap.
Has he? Because the leaders are right behind him right now. And, so he's not far from going a lap down. Or would that be 2 laps down?
That would be 1, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe Ruttman, and truck owned by Joe Ruttman. That's Bobby Hamilton. And here's the third place battle. This is Ruttman leading Randy Tolsma. Now they're about a second and a half behind race leader Greg Biffle. Work around Wayne Edwards.
And Tolsma was a couple of seconds behind not too long ago. So he has moved up on the front runners.
Tolsma, you'll see some RPM in this truck. I mean, they really turned this truck up. We see if he turns 88, 8900 like Joe Ruttman was. The Dodges usually turn a lot of RPM.
Well, he does.
Right there, 8800, right down the back straightaway as he heads through turns 3. And we do have a great crowd here today. Look at the main part of the grandstand here. I mean, it's packed. They shut off that one end down there. Tomorrow, of course, in the Winston Cup race, they'll open that up. But they have a great crowd here today.
Well, the lead is traded back and forth now between Bobby Hamilton and Greg Biffle. Let's go to Ralph and Biffle's pit.
Well, Randy Goss is the crew chief for Greg Biffle. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him here about how that truck is running. Randy, are you in good shape now to take it all the way to the finish?
Pardon me?
Are you in good shape to take it all the way to the finish now?
Oh, no, we need to stop for fuel again. Everybody's going to need tires. Both left and right. One more time.
From the looks of things, pitting under green would absolutely kill your chances, though. How are you going to hope for a yellow? Is that your best shot?
Yeah, well, we need some yellows to get them on, but if everybody runs out of... If we go a long flag run, we'll stop for 4. Under green.
Wow. A 4-tire stop under green will cost you a lap.
At least, because you could see how close Andy Houston come going a lap down, and all he did was come in and just take a little bit of rubber off the front part of the valence there on the front part of the truck.
Yeah, he wasn't in the pits 4 seconds.
So let's pick up Kenny Schrader. Remember, he had led this entire race until he pitted, and now has come out in 14th position, just ahead of Michael Dokken, who was running second and pitted with Schrader. For more, here's Ralph.
Mike, he is really, really tight in the center of the corner and coming off. So the handling on Kenny Schrader's number 52 has completely gone away with this new set of right-side tires.
This is not a track that you want to push on because the groove is right on the bottom part of the racetrack, and if the nose of the car or truck, when you turn it, wants to go out, you have to wait until it settles down before you can get back in the throttle, and it really hurts you down the straightaway.
6th lead change of the day puts Bobby Hamilton back out in front. And it's hard to see which of these trucks has an advantage for more than 2 or 3 laps.
It is. When they make the pass, it looks like they're going to pull away, whichever one it is, and then all of a sudden the other one's right back there on them. So they're having a lot of fun out there, and it's a lot of fun for the fans.
Current top lap speeds. Now these are the average speed for one lap. Hamilton with the quickest lap of the day there. Hamilton number 4. The 50 is Biffle.
It's almost like they drop back and see where the trucks are running as far as getting up out of the corner. And maybe change their line just a little bit. And back and forth, these two guys are going right now. But it's a fun thing if you don't go any further back than second.
So we're 10 laps from halfway. Bobby Hamilton leads series regular Greg Biffle, Joe Ruttman, and Randy Tolsma.
In the bathroom even on that show.
Nah, don't tell me that. That's more than I want to know. Watching from Jim Engelbright's Jelly Belly cam as the truck in front gets a little loose. Bobby Hamilton, Greg Biffle, our leaders. Joe Ruttman, Randy Tolsma, Kurt Busch, last week's winner in Milwaukee, the first of 3 mile track Saturdays on CBS. We conclude next Saturday at Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
All very similar racetracks as far as banking is concerned. Now, Nazareth is a different design racetrack. It has a design of its own.
It doesn't know it's an oval now.
No. Hello, Joe Ruttman. I'm back here, said Randy Tolsma. Is he giving him just a little shot in the pants there?
Tailgate party.
You got it.
How would you react to that, buddy, that kind of thing, when suddenly your head just bounces back into the headrest like that?
Well, you know, they didn't mean to do it, but you're both getting down in there under braking, and apparently Tolsma got in there a little bit hot and realized right at the last moment that he was gaining up. If you really wanted to be like, I can remember a driver named Connie Lund that would hit you 5 times in a row going into the corner, just to let you know I'm a little quicker, and you're not going to block me for very long.
Man, when you raced, the bumpers were a lot thicker, a lot heavier, and a lot stronger. But was the action the same?
Similar. You could get by with more back in those days because we didn't have all these cameras on you when you're out there. Plus, you know, many of the races were at night back in those days, and the tracks were not very well lit, and you could even do things on the backstretch that the NASCAR officials couldn't see.
Now, they called him Gentleman Ned, but I have seen Gentleman Ned have to use that bumper, and not many times, but when he had to go, he had to go.
And those were chrome bumpers back then. They had to be stock bumpers.
Stock bumpers, yeah.
Made a lot of noise, too.
The current Busch North driver who told me, I'll bump you once to get your attention, twice to move you over, and if I have to bump you a 3rd time, you're gone. He spends a little time in the penalty box.
Yeah,
that's all it does. Halfway next time by, Bobby Hamilton, the Winston Cup driver who owns Joe Ruttman's full-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series team, is the race leader. There's the halfway sign. He and Kurt Busch, and the 50 truck right behind is Busch's teammate Greg Biffle. In second, Joe Ruttman is third. Randy Tolsma and Busch, last week's winner, is fifth. Steve Grissom has been climbing up the order steadily. He's in the 6th spot. Rick Crawford 7th. Mike Wallace, the 86 of Scott Briggs. Marty Houston fills out the top 10.
You know, the one thing that Bobby Hamilton's answered right now, he knows when he gets his fresh tires, he does not have to worry about stopping anymore. He'll keep that track position because the truck's very, very fast on worn tires. So right now, all he's got to do is hope for caution so he can change the tires and get that last little bit of fuel. If he can go that far, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Just put a lap on the 20th place truck, Steve Prescott, truck 03.
Yeah, Prescott's an interesting story, Ned. He has raced in the New England Pro Truck Series of spec trucks with one specification and no change of parts by the teams, and he's the champion of that series, and now comes the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Hamilton was able to get a little bit of distance between he and Biffle when they passed Prescott.
Biffle is second, Ruttman third, Tolsma fourth, and last week's winner, Kurt Busch, is the 5th place truck. Here he is, the 99, in white and black, 7.5 seconds behind the leader, and Steve Grissom has caught him.
Yeah, Steve Grissom makes a move going into turn 3.
Grissom's riding a rocket these last 50 laps.
This truck seems to be working well down on the bottom of the racetrack. That's where you needed to be working on this racetrack. And Steve is a good, smooth race driver, knows how to take care of the tires on any vehicle that he drives. He had some good runs here in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. A few years ago, he finished 4th, I believe, in both races in 1 year in the Winston Cup Series.
And he's also a past Busch Grand National champion, so he's been here. He knows how to run the racetrack, and some of his best runs have been right here.
Yep, and Grissom will be driving Kyle Petty's car in tomorrow's Winston Cup race here at New Hampshire. This young fella, Kurt Busch, came off of the Northwest-Southwest Tour of NASCAR and has now moved up to the Truck Series, and he says right now he has become a much improved driver. We asked him why.
It's a matter of just taming the beast and that being the truck. I mean, it's my friend. I go and talk with it every day. We play with it. We set it up. We polish it. We take care of it. Now it's starting to take care of me. I've used it early. Just needed to let races come to me. We're in the Southwest Series or late model racing. You just go out there and be the fastest car in the win. It's a little bit different type of racing.
Learns quickly. You got a lot of talent.
Early part of the season, he really fought Steve Grissom for making that pass there a few moments ago, but he's learned some patience and not take chances.
Well, Ned, you remember in Daytona, I mean, he left there. I don't think anybody's speaking to him except the immediate family, because he hit everything but the lottery down there. And when he left there, I think everybody just said, okay, you need to think about it a little bit, because that was a little too aggressive to do what you have to do in the Truck Series. And he has turned into be a fine, fine driver.
That he has. Mike Wallace, you watch currently the 7th place truck. He's about a second behind Kurt Busch and just ahead of Rick Crawford by half a second. And going to the garage area is Tom Carey, the Orange, Massachusetts driver from the Busch North Series, trying to make a break into the Craftsman Truck Series. And so his day is over. 107 laps are complete. Bobby Hamilton leads Greg Biffle and Joe Ruttman. Coverage from New Hampshire International Speedway continues after this. Coy Gibbs is down there stuck in some of that nice New Hampshire topsoil inside of turn 4.
Yeah, and he's not moving at all. It's just spinning the wheels back and forth, back and forth.
That's too bad he had a good run going here today. Also, see if we can see what happened. It was already loose.
Coy Gibbs now sliding. Now watch it come around, and when it does, it just buries itself right here.
Might have been another truck involved. There was one truck way up on the high side of the racetrack there that just went quickly out of picture. It's a good break for Kenny Schrader, who was just 5 seconds from going a lap down to Bobby Hamilton. And this will be the 6th, check that, 5th caution of the day.
I was just looking at the 20 truck there, Coy Gibbs. He's got some damage to the left front corner there. I don't know whether that's from right now or just something that happened earlier, but it does have damage.
And Andy Houston made up the lap that he lost with his green flag pit stop, we're told. So that puts Andy back on the lead lap.
And after they passed him, he stayed pretty well with them.
And it is pit stop time. Bobby Hamilton is in. Greg Biffle, Joe Ruttman, Randy Tolsma, Kurt Busch, Mike Wallace, Rick Crawford. Most of the leaders are pitting. Dick?
This was an incredibly lucky break for Bobby Hamilton. He was almost out of fuel, and he was going to have to pit under the green in just 4 laps when that caution flag came out. They put 2 tires in the right side. They're going to put a little bit more flight in it. They just did that. A little bit of air pressure and a little bit of gas, and off he goes. Terrell.
Well, it was the same lucky break for Randy Tolsma. He needed right side tires badly. He came in and got them, took fuel, and is back underway.
There are 86 laps to go, and unless there are a lot of caution laps, it's going to be very hard to go that distance on 1 tank of fuel.
From the information that we received before the race, 75 to 80 laps, yes, it will. But it wouldn't be surprised if some of them don't try to make it if we don't have them.
Atop the leaderboard. And we'll be back as CBS Sports coverage of the New Hampshire 200 continues.
Of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Doc Otis, a new flavored alcohol malt beverage. Real lemon, real refreshment. Unlock the Doc. Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go Pennzoil. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
116 laps complete. The order has shuffled after caution flag pit stops, and in 1 more lap we'll go racing. Greg Biffle is now at the front. Mike Wallace in Fords, Randy Tolsma's Dodge, Rick Crawford, Steve Grissom, Joe Ruttman, Bobby Hamilton, Marty Houston, the 86 of Scott Riggs, and Ricky Hendrick, the top 10.
Mike Wallace made a great pit stop. He was in the top 10, but comes out in 2nd place.
1 lap to go. Andy Houston's back on the lead lap. They're looking at how some of the drivers came in the pits and went out. Look at Kurt Busch, who lost 5 spots on pit road. 16 trucks are on the lead lap. Let's have a little review. Right on lap number 4, Dennis Setzer had trouble locking the left front brake of his number 1 Dodge and pounding the wall in turn 3. Then at lap 10, Marty Houston makes contact with Tom Carey and goes around. A little later, Brian Reffner sends Andy Gensman and the number 9 of Lance Hooper. Finally, Gensman collects hapless Randy McDonald. Jimmy Hensley truck is wrecked, and Coy Gibbs spins to the infield 4 laps ago. So let's go green and get this restarted with 82 laps to go. Go. And Mike Wallace out in front. The third truck is the lap truck of Brad Bennett. Riding the Cat Rental Stores camera on board with Andy Houston, who's back on the lead lap. Front, here comes Wallace for the lead.
Boy, all of a sudden on fresh tires, a little swap in the paint there as they go down the back straightaway. Looks like Mike Wallace just moved right on by.
Won a couple races earlier in the year, but has struggled a little bit in recent races, Mike Wallace.
Won at Daytona and Bakersfield, second at Homestead and Martinsville. But only 22nd last week in Milwaukee was Mike Wallace. Here's the battle a little further back. Marty Houston and Andy Houston trying to work over Scott Riggs in the 86.
Ooh, Riggs truck very loose.
Yep, and they sandwich it.
Marty ended up better in the 75 truck there, and Andy Houston also got by.
That 40 truck, Brad Bennett had just made a green flag pit stop about 3 or 4 laps before this caution came out. Tough break for him.
Here's that last lap with that same group. Now that's Steve Prescott outside, Marty Houston in the middle, Riggs on the inside, and the yellow and red 60 of Andy Houston moving up.
Now Houston gets on the inside of Bennett. Bennett is being shown 1 lap down. 2 laps down, I beg your pardon, as he made that green flag pit stop, 4 tires and fuel.
Ricky Hendricks in the 17 there. He's been very, very patient today, driving like he has a lot more experience than he does. This is only his 2nd start in the truck division, and as we said earlier, his best finish in that 1 race that he ran in was 6th.
You ride with Kenny Schrader, the Federated Auto Parts cam, on board his Chevrolet. Schrader back up to 13th after handily leading the first 60 laps here.
Yes, he was the class of the field first 60 laps. Since he made his pit stop, took on some tires, hasn't been that good.
2 Fords and a Dodge fight for the lead. Mike Wallace, the first one.
Yeah, and Dick Bergman told us when we were away at break a while ago that Tolsma may not have gotten all the fuel he needed. They're having trouble getting the fuel into that truck, so that'll be something that we'll have to watch later on in the race as to when he has to come in for fuel and whether they can get the fuel in fast enough.
Let's get an update on Mike Wallace as well. Here comes Biffle for the lead. Back straightaway, and again he gets that bottom shot off turn 2 and makes it pay.
Wallace's truck wiggled a little bit coming off of turn 2, and Tolsma will take over 2nd place.
We'll check with Dick Berggren.
Well, Mike Wallace told me this morning that he was going to run in this race a whole lot better than he qualified, and not because of any adjustments they made to the truck. Adjustments instead that were made to the driver, the driver's mental attitude. Mike has just found out just found out that there was a rule change over the course of the winter, and that the right side of the truck weight is some 40 pounds different than it was. And he said all year long, I kind of felt like I'm just floating on air. The truck didn't feel right. He talked to some of the other drivers, and they said, guess what? We feel the same way. Mike said, I'm just going to drive this thing a whole lot harder today. I don't care what it feels like. It's just going to go fast. That's the strategy.
Well, there's the fast truck as he takes the lead. Randy Tolson, I mean, he just went up there. And Biffle is not fighting with anyone. When they pull up even with him, he rolls out. I'm sure he is racing the big picture for the championship.
Well, but it's still early, buddy. There's 74 laps to go, and we've seen Biffle give up the lead and then grab it right back.
Well, that's what he does, but I mean, he's not getting himself into a confrontation there that might get him into rubbing the metal a little bit, maybe getting a tire rub or something like that. He's very experienced now in the truck division, running a very heads-up race.
Fifth place battle down to the inside comes number 4, Bobby Hamilton against Rick Crawford.
There's Kurt Busch in the number 99 truck, also trying to take the position from Crawford.
Randy Tolsma becomes the 6th different leader of this race. 10 lead changes. Pretty competitive day.
Hamilton, well, he was 7th after the pit stops. He dropped back on the pit stop, and now he's back up to 4th, so that Dodge is still strong.
He's coming. Still 16 trucks on the lead lap. That's that battle, and let's pick up the front of the field. Tolsma in the Dodge, Biffle and Wallace in Fords. Then Hamilton's Dodge. I think the first Chevrolet is all the way back in 9th place, Marty Houston. Some of the drivers have moved up since that last restart. And Hamilton for 3rd place on Mike Wallace. Opens the door for Kurt Busch.
And I guarantee you Kurt Busch won't waste any time either. If he has a faster truck, he don't mind mixing it up at all. Even though this is his rookie year, he has really come on the scene and made a big impression on everyone.
Not too long ago, Mike Wallace was the leader. Now he is in 5th.
ASE cam on board Mike Wallace there with 70 laps to go. And Randy Tolsma from Boise, Idaho is out front of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here at New Hampshire. Leader Randy Tolsma, that black and red number 25. He's passed lap truck of Wayne Edwards. Here's the 2nd and 3rd place battle. Bobby Hamilton, right pretty much in the tire tracks of Greg Biffle. Ford versus Dodge. Hamilton restarted 7th following the 5th yellow flag. Now he rides in 3rd, and you ride with him.
I don't think he'll mess around long there behind Biffle. I think he'll take him at the first opportunity. And this might be it. But couldn't quite get the run.
For more on Hamilton, Dick Berggren.
Well, Mike, the last pit stop that Bobby Hamilton made, it seemed to have taken forever to get the fuel in it, and they're not sure if the problem was the fuel cans or whether it was the truck itself. But they are extremely concerned about the next pit stop. Apparently, these guys are only running in their 4th race all year, and apparently they have got a problem filling it up. So the next pit stop could be very, very critical to Bobby Hamilton's chances of winning this race.
Well, Hamilton loosened up Greg Biffle, and now here comes Biffle's teammate Kurt Busch, who restarted 11th, and now he is up to 3rd. Wow. Takes Biffle back to the 4th spot, losing 2 positions in 1 lap.
Kurt Busch's truck is awfully, awfully good in the center part of the corner. When he gets back in the throttle, it looks like it just jumps out of there.
They are a little over 2 seconds behind Randy Tolsma, who is leading. There he is. See there how far it is?
Well, all that side-by-side battling was a break for Tolsma. He was able to check out.
Looks in his rearview mirror and says, do some more of that, fellas.
Yeah. And behind this group, it's another 3 seconds back to Mike Wallace, whose truck is fading and fallen into the clutches of Joe Ruttman. Here they come. Wallace Wallace, Ruttman, and 43. The red truck is Steve Grissom.
Oh, easy. Made it. Side by side as they come off corner there, but Grissom had great run. Had the throttle wide open there, and Ruttman just let him go on by.
Next Saturday, CBS's three-peat of the Craftsman Truck Series finishes off at Nazareth, Pennsylvania. We'll be on our 3rd mile track in 3 weeks with these same drivers. Hope you join us then.
When you said that racetrack is unique, it is very unique. It has road course corners on it, a downhill back straightaway, tight corners, long racing corners. It's a different animal.
It's been on a great show there the last couple of years.
Here comes Grissom. You heard Mike Wallace. Maybe just stutter step that throttle a little bit coming off the corner.
His truck is not working in the corners. Mike Wallace is not number 2 the way that he would like for it to. That's where they're making up the speed on him. Sees Griffin pull up on him as they start off the corner. Then Mike gets a pretty good bite off of that corner. It's number 2, turn number 2. Now he hits to 3.
And Steve Grissom, that you're looking at there, is double duty this weekend. He's driving the truck, of course, today, and then tomorrow he'll be driving Kyle Petty's car here.
58 laps to go. And Randy Tolsma now, his lead is cut to 1.7 seconds as Bobby Hamilton breaks away from this group and begins to close in. Carlos Contreras goes behind the wall. He made a couple of pit stops and had fallen well off the lead lap. And now is in the garage area. Well, here comes Grissom on the inside of Mike Wallace.
He's got to run this time. He has position. He should be able to pull it off.
Going into turn 1, he should be able to just motor right on by, and as he does, and along comes Ruttman right along with him. 2 spots in about a period of a second and a half.
You saw Wallace lift off the gas real early for turn 1, so as not to fight him through the corner and slow both of those trucks down.
So Grissom now moves to 5th, Ruttman to 6th, Wallace back to 7th.
8th is Marty Houston, 9th is brother Andy, and Ricky Hendrick is having a great run here in 10th. I say great run for only his 2nd start in this series. That is very impressive.
Very impressive. Steve Grissom is about 9 seconds behind the leader, Randy Tolsma.
16 trucks still on the lead lap. Off the top 10 are Scott Riggs, Rick Corelli, Terry Cook, Rick Crawford, Michael Dockett, and Kenny Schrader. The rest of the lead lap trucks. And the lead of Randy Tolsma is shortening. You see Bobby Hamilton right there, just 0.8 of a second back.
And I think the longer Bobby Hamilton runs on his tires, the better that truck balances, because just a little while ago, he was not able to keep up with Tolsma's pace, and right now he's running down about 3-4 truck lengths a lap.
You can see there he's over 124 and Tolsma 123.
Soft back in the throttle. He didn't just jump back in there. That's key to a flat track, is not to ever break the rear wheels loose in the center part of the corner.
Battered number 46 that was involved in the first accident of the day, the one that took Dennis Setzer to the garage. And now Hamilton has a little clearer track to play with.
See Tolsma truck right in the center part of the corner there, just inch out. Let's see what he's doing down the straightaway. They've been turning about 8,800 down the back straightaway on RPMs. At 87 that time, just a little bit off of what they were running on fresh tires a while ago.
Now what we did see, this track is banked 12 degrees, so it's not quite flat, but going in that corner we saw Tolsma put his left side tires down on the flat, go off the banking. Why?
And that would, to be, maybe tighten the car or truck up as it starts in the corner there, letting the left side work a little more than the right, and then in the center part of the corner where the right really lays over, you have a fresher tire than if you just go in there and lean all the way over on the right tires.
There you see he does it again, and here comes Hamilton right to him. close they run. Rick Crawford's made a pit stop here at lap 149. He's going to get tires and fuel. We may see some other of the front trucks making green flag stops. Here comes Hamilton, just kind of chewing away there at the inside.
And lap traffic just on the inside there. He thought about moving over, and that lap traffic was there, and he said, well, I better wait another lap.
We're just waiting for that number 25 truck of Tolsma to make a little bit of a slip. Bobby's not going to press the issue. He knows he has a faster truck because he ran him down. And so he'll say, he'll take a little bit of a slip here a little bit, and I'll pounce right in there.
Mike, about 150 miles an hour down the straightaway. These trucks are flying around here.
Get a little more on Tolsma from Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Mike, when Bobby Hamilton's number 4 gets up behind Randy Tolsma's number 25, that's when Randy has a problem. The truck starts to get a little loose on him. I just talked to crew chief Gary Sowalter, and he said everything is fine with the truck. When that 4 gets up underneath us, it tends to loosen it up a little bit, just like it's probably doing right now through the corner.
Well, that may not be his only problem, Ralph.
No, he's got some, well, he did have.
He had a hot dog wrapper.
Yeah, had a hot dog wrapper on the grill, but now it appears to have blown off, or was that down on the bottom part?
Yeah, it's on the lower part down there, and I noticed it is stuck there, and that's a good eye on your part there. You can see it right there. Well, I'm trying.
He's outrunning you, buddy.
That's how fast they run.
Boy, I'm trying.
But that'll make the truck even looser.
And speaking of lose, he loses the lead. Oh, big trouble.
Boy, he hit the wall hard.
I think that's Steve Prescott. It is the main driver.
He really shot into that wall, Mike.
Yeah, and the truck got up on the wall there very hardly.
They had just lapped Prescott, the 32-year-old driver from Gardner, Maine, for, I believe, the second time. He had made a green flag pit stop, and caution is out, and Steve is, you see, moving around okay.
And the net comes out. That's to let the corner workers know that I'm okay. That's how you let them know. You don't have to cross in traffic here to get to me.
So caution is out once again here at New Hampshire. This is the 6th one of the day for Steve Prescott's spin, and this should allow all of the leaders to make their final pit stop.
I'm sure they will be coming in. And many of them will welcome this opportunity.
Mike, and that's a big break for the trucks that were having trouble getting fuel in, because under a caution you have a little more time than you do under a green flag stop.
Yeah, Kenny Schrader dodges another bullet and keeps from going a lap down. He was the last car on the lead lap. Prescott's going to climb out okay. And here come the leaders to pit road. Dick Berggren.
Well, Bobby Hamilton is going to come in, and he's going to take the 2 outside tires, Mike. He's going to take fuel. They are not going to wait on the fuel man. There's only a little bit less than 50 laps to go, so that's the strategy. Get as much fuel in as they can. There probably won't be enough, a lot of pressure on Mark Nichols. He is the gas man here. Hamilton now taking right side tires. He sees his winning the cup pit crew hitting the car. Robert Marcus, the crew chief on that team, on the jack, and there goes Hamilton. They're out.
Well, for Randy Tolsma, they're taking left side tires. They wanted to take a look at the right rear. They felt like that tire might be getting a little old. This time, for sure, they think they got enough fuel in the truck.
I want to give an attaboy to Kenny Schrader. Now, he was the last truck on the lead lap. He is still in the pit, but he was coming down pit lane, and Schrader could have driven across the nose of 2 trucks trying to leave the pit, but he slammed on the brakes, stayed out in the pit lane, and allowed those 2 trucks to leave before he went in his pit stall. He's going to come out the last truck just the way he went in, but he certainly avoided a couple of other trucks trying to get out from having a collision.
Okay, we're good.
We'll show you what happened to Steve Prescott here in a minute. We have 46 laps to go at New Hampshire. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ned Jarrett, Dick Berggren and Ralph Shaheen on pit road. Let's show you what happened to Steve Prescott, driving the family truck, the E.J. Prescott, number 03.
It was already out of control and headed towards the wall when our camera picked it up, but he hit that outside wall pretty hard.
There's not a truck around him, so he did that by himself. He went down in the corner, and there's a lot of oil drying and different things on the outside of the racetrack now, so when he got up there, the truck just goes around on him. That is huge contact to the outside wall.
Well, they call New Hampshire the granite state, and I'm not sure these walls are made of just concrete. They could be solid granite.
They're hard.
Bobby Hamilton is now second because Marty Houston did not pit. Hamilton was the first truck out of the pits, and we'll be back for the restart after this. Bobby Hamilton is the leader now. He passed Marty Houston. That's 14 Rick Crawford at the front of the pack. He got back on the lead lap on the restart, so he's on the tail end of the lead lap, and Hamilton is your leader once again.
Crawford is in the 15th position, trying desperately to stay on the lead lap in case there was a caution. I'll tell you, they've missed a couple of good opportunities to not have one back in the pack, because they were 4 wide there a couple of moments ago.
There's Marty Houston losing second spot to the 99 of Kurt Busch, and here comes number 2, Mike Wallace, with him.
Mike Wallace very, very fast on fresh tires. The minute the tires get hot, he seems to drop off. Boy, when they have restarts, they have a run with 10 laps to go. My money's on it.
We wonder why Marty Houston did not make a pit stop. I would question that strategy, but who knows?
A lap after they dropped the restart green flag, here they came down the straightaway. Grissom on the left, Ruttman, Busch, 4 wide there for a minute. Mike Wallace way to the inside. Now they've sorted out somewhat. 37 laps to go. There's Marty Houston, who now finds himself in 4th place. Still 16 trucks on the lead lap. Biffle and Tolsma have been nose to tail since they dropped the green for the restart. In fact, they've had a little bit of contact coming up through the field.
Yes, they have, and a real comeback of the day is Andy Houston. He's already up to 8th spot in this truck right there, and he has been absolutely flying up through there. One time was a full lap down, and now he fought his way back up into 8th spot.
He's only about 10 car lengths from being in 5th. But those are filled by Marty Houston 75, the 25 of Randy Tolsma.
Now Tolsma's trying to take away that position from Marty Houston. Gets a nose alongside. One press straightaway, couldn't quite do it that time. I thought he had enough of a run that he would get up beside him, but
there's where Marty has the problem. When he tries to get back in the throttle, the truck went up the hill, and Tolsma just dropped to the bottom there. All these trucks should get by on the inside as they start through there. And even his brother now comes up beside of him, coming through the corner. Andy Houston puts Marty behind him.
And you'll see some of those position boxes go up in green on the upper left. That means the driver has gained a position the last lap. If it's shown in red, he has lost a spot. And Ned, to answer your question, Marty Houston last pitted at lap 114. So if we had 10 or 12 caution laps between then and the end of the race, he might have enough fuel to go the distance.
Well, he might have, but boy, not having those tires on. But maybe he's saving his tires for later on. And there are only 15 trucks on the lead lap. So, maybe that strategy will work out for him. They know what they're doing down there. Why should I be afraid?
Rick Crawford fighting very hard to stay in the lead lap right now, hoping for a caution so he can go all the way around the racetrack and get back with these guys. But Bobby Hamilton is dogging him, and I'm sure Hamilton's looking in the mirror and seeing Kurt Busch right behind him back there. A very aggressive driver.
Rick Crawford's had a very consistent season. He's been in the top 15 in all but 1 races, that being Daytona. And 1 top 5, that coming at Portland. Steve Grissom has just made a pit stop.
This truck was really after. He came out in 3rd and looked like he was going to maybe have a chance to fight for the lead, and all of a sudden his truck was starting washing up the racetrack. Everybody passed him. So I don't know if he had a tire going down or what the case might have been, but too bad for Steve Grissom.
Oh, boy, they're inches apart. And you want to talk about making something drive bad. When you're that close behind somebody coming up out of the corner, the air to that second truck back there piles up underneath the back of the truck in front of it, making it very hard to keep control and make it very uneasy coming out of the corners.
Again, this battle's not for position. 4, Hamilton's the leader. 14, Crawford trying to stay on the tail into the lead lap.
Trouble.
For Bobby Hamilton.
Left front.
Left front is flat on Bobby Hamilton's truck.
And we've lost
He's
the leader.
headed for the garage.
Since Hamilton is not running for points, like he may take this one out of the race, see if he goes to his pit or to his garage. Green will stay out. That will give Kurt Busch the lead, and as he rolls into the garage area,
did an awfully good job today.
We'll
Thank
check
you
with
very
Dick
much.
Bergeron as to why Marty Houston did not pit. Dick?
Well, right now I'm chasing Bobby Hamilton, and I can tell you this. We've been listening to Marty Houston's radio, and he simply said that he is loose everywhere.
Well, Houston has dropped back to 9th place. Here's your new leader. Last week's winner, Kurt Busch, on the mile at Milwaukee, is up front.
21 years old, and he liked what he found there last week. Said, I'd like to do that again.
He's on his way, Ned. 29 laps to go. He's going to have to hold off Mike Wallace, Joe Ruttman, Randy Tolsma, and his teammate, the point leader, Greg Biffle. To look back for Wallace, and here's the third place battle. Ruttman in blue and Tolsma in black and red.
And Greg Biffle just behind them. Good race there. You see, they take a look, but going in the corners there, you must be almost single file to make it in there. Too wide entering the corner don't work. You can double up about halfway through the corner and make it work okay, but you don't want to go in there too wide.
Okay, now Tolsma dips down on the inside, makes the pass. Here comes Biffle. He'll make the pass as well, so Ruttman drops back a couple of positions.
Andy Houston moves right in on the 18 there of Ruttman.
Joe Ruttman, the winner at Phoenix. It's been 5 races, though, since he's had a top 5 finish. Well, this won't be as easy as last week for Kurt Busch when he led 156 of the 200 laps in Milwaukee. It's the first time today he has led, and we'll go to the garage area where he picked up the lead from Bobby Hamilton, who is now out of the race. Dick?
Well, 1 win, 3 DNFs this year for Bobby Hamilton in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Why not at least change the tire and finish it, Bobby?
What's the use? If I can't win it, I don't want to run it. That's what we're here for, is to win for Dana Corporation. And Born Warner's on the truck this week. Kodak guys were pitting. We had good pit stops. The motor run awesome. The thing drove good. I kept messing around with that lap truck with Rick Crawford. I should have knocked him out of the way because that's the way he usually does. And I seen something fall off his truck and I hit it.
Well, you had a great run anyway. It was fun to watch your race. Mike?
So Bobby Hamilton will end this one in the garage. 25 laps to go. Kurt Busch is the leader. He has half a second on Mike Wallace. Randy Tolsma is another 3 seconds back with Greg Biffle, Andy Houston, Joe Ruttman. Then Ricky Hendrick has climbed to 7th. Scott Riggs, Marty Houston, and Rick Corelli in the top 10.
Well, whatever he ran over, I hope that Rick Crawford may have ran across it himself and kicked it back. I hope it wasn't something off of Crawford's truck, because anything that's big enough to cut a tire down could be a real problem later on somewhere.
Well, that gave Rick a little bit of breathing room when Hamilton went out, because Hamilton was right on his back bumper, but now he's got a little bit of breathing room before Kurt Busch would get to him and put him that lap down.
There's 7th place Ricky Hendrick and the 18 of Joe Ruttman. Now we go back up front where Kurt Busch works a bit of lap traffic here at Loudon, New Hampshire. CBS Sports coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will continue. 18 laps to go. In the New Hampshire 200, last week's winner at Milwaukee, Kurt Busch, leads Mike Wallace, the Daytona and Bakersfield winner. Now, 3rd place is also tightening up. Randy Tolsma in the Dodge and Greg Biffle's Ford. Then it's Andy Houston, Joe Ruttman, Ricky Hendrick, Scott Riggs, Rick Corelli, and Ken Schrader is up into the top 10. Schrader led most of the first 60 laps. 18 to go.
Tolsma has not been gaining on the front runners. In fact, he's about 3 7/10 seconds behind Kurt Busch. But his problem right now is Greg Biffle.
And I think Greg Biffle right now realizes that his main adversary in the points race is in the garage area on the truck already, Jack Sprague. So he's getting an enormous amount of points built up right now between he and Jack Sprague. And they fight it out week after week after week.
Now, Mike Wallace, right now the race runner-up, is 4th in the standings, 152 points out of 1st place. The laps wind down here at New Hampshire. Next Saturday, Nazareth, Pennsylvania will be the site of our final CBS Truck Series race of the 2000 season. Here at New Hampshire, 16 laps to go. It's the 3rd place trucker, Randy Tolsma, and there across the back straightaway. The leader, Kurt Busch.
Ned pointed out a while ago that Mike Wallace is closing in on Kurt Busch, and he is indeed. Now, whether Kurt Busch has pulled everything out of the bag or not, I don't know, but I will tell you it's down to about 10 truck lengths now.
We'll have 15 laps to go when they come back this time.
Let's go to the leader's pit and Ralph.
Well, we're with Matt Chambers, crew chief for Kurt Busch. Has his truck got anything left, or do you worry a lot now about Mike Wallace closing in?
Oh, yeah, next side battery forward has got something left. We're just kind of cruising right now and hoping it goes green all the way, but we're in pretty good shape and hoping to end.
Where's your trick going to be? Is it going to be in the tires? Do you have enough tires left?
Yeah, we got newer left, and we're only about 25 laps older on the right, so we're not in too bad a shape compared to the other guys.
Dick Berggren?
On the other side of the race is Mike Wallace. His crew chief is Tim Cahoot. How much more have you guys left? Can you run that 99 down?
Well, I don't know if we got anything left. You know, those Roush trucks are awfully stout, but we're having a pretty decent run here. Maybe Mike's experience could kind of play in here and be a factor.
That's just what we've got, Mike. Old age in second spot, a little bit of age, and experience versus the young rookie leading this race.
And fellas, they're coming up on this 16 truck that Bobby Hamilton had tried to lap and eventually got a tire cut down. Wonder if that'd be a problem for him.
Well, Rick Crawford's the guy he's talking about in that 14 truck. As they come off the corner there and go down the back straightaway, that will come into play. And Kurt Busch right now does not need any distractions. He needs to run those perfect laps because Mike Wallace, whether you believe it or not, is down to about 5 truck lengths now.
Jack Roush, who owns Kurt Busch and Greg Biffle's truck, is going for his 5th straight Truck Series win today. We asked the man running right behind Busch, Mike Wallace, does Jack Roush have an unfair advantage in this series?
A lot of advantage. Unfair, I don't know that. I don't think that. I think I think as competitors, we wish we thought everybody would find them cheating, make our life easier. I think what you got to look at is Roush Racing in its entirety. They own 5 Winston Cup teams, 2 Busch teams, 2 truck teams, hundreds of people working for them, engineers and everything else, and they're just utilizing all the resources.
Utilizing them well as Kurt Busch leads this race, and his teammate, the point leader Greg Biffle, runs in 4th. Wallace trying to close, but now Busch is opening up a little advantage.
Yes, he is, and Mike Wallace is just sawing on that steering wheel. He gets by Crawford there, and now Wallace has to get by him at a very bad spot as you're accelerating out of the corner. Broke his momentum a little bit, and Kurt Busch moves out a little bit more.
There's Jack Roush, his famous Panama hat, atop the toolbox, looking over his NASCAR Craftsman truck competitors.
They called him the cat in the hat, and he definitely is.
10 to go, 10 laps. Let's pick up the battle for 3rd, where Randy Tolsma's number 25 holds off Greg Biffle, and they stay nose to tail.
He has done a good job of holding off Biffle. Those trucks are pretty evenly matched.
Remember, it's questionable as to whether Tolsma got enough fuel in on that last stop to go the distance. 10 laps, we'll all know.
Well, right now, the one thing they all have to consider is what they're working right there, lap traffic. That can change everything, the complexion of the race and the outcome also, because every time you dive in the corner, it has to do with getting in the corner or getting off when you have the traffic in front of you.
Ooh, that little bump there? Maybe not quite. Hard to tell from the Citgo camera on board Randy Tolsma whether he and Biffle actually got together. Now they go into turn 3.
It hadn't been that long ago Randy Tolsma was leading this race.
13 trucks on the lead lap. Don't forget, coming up next, the debut of Showtime Championship Boxing on CBS. 2 big events for you, and that follows our Craftsman Truck Series race here from New Hampshire.
Biffle is trying everything he knows to get around that Dodge of Tolsma.
Ned, he actually put the left side tires of that truck under the yellow line down in turns 1 and 2, trying to get just a little bit under Tolsma, just to rattle his cage a little bit.
7 laps to go.
That's his strong suit, this particular corner right here. You can see he can stay a little bit lower. Left side right down on the bottom there. Tolsma's truck is very, very fast coming out of that corner.
If you wonder what's going on up front, Kurt Busch is pulled away from Mike Wallace.
Wallace it's now a second and a half back. There they are on the left of your screen.
And that's a result of just getting the best of your tires. He's been fast on new tires, and now they're worn down a little bit, and he's slipping back.
So for third place, 6 laps to go. Leader, second place, and this battle for third.
Best battle on the racetrack right now, here for third position.
They may not have made contact, but if Tolsma had a trailer hitch on that truck, Biffle would have hit it.
And be going home with him. So
yeah.
See what Tolsma's doing now? 8,800 again. That truck's still running strong right here at the end.
5 to go. The 31 truck back into the garage. Robbie Thompson's been in and out of the garage all day. He'll be 26th in the final running order. 22 truck still running.
Also a good battle for fifth here. Andy Houston is driving the wheels off, trying to hold off Joe Ruttman and Ricky Hendrick. Truck number 17, the white and blue one back there. That's Houston in the yellow and red truck. Ruttman, number 18.
Impressive run for Hendrick, and also for the truck behind him, number 86, Scott Riggs. Will pick up a top 10 today. And that will be perhaps Rick's best finish this season. He has 4 ninth-place finishes. He's running an 8. On board Joe Ruttman.
And also, while we're just watching these guys run nose to tail here, Rick Corelli has drove a nice race today also. He's in 10th spot, and it's good to have him back. He was injured very badly just about a half a year back, and he's made a great recovery, and it's good to have him back in the field.
Well, I tell you, Greg Biffle, he's done everything but wreck Tolsma.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's tapped him just slightly.
Uh-oh. Ruttman's dropped back now.
He has. Ricky Hendrick got by him, and also Riggs. So he's given up a couple of spots here.
In fact, Ruttman's truck slowed, and Hendrick was pinned behind him. Riggs went past them both.
Oh, I just heard the truck when it went by. Ruttman just dropped the cylinder. It's definitely off the pace. He'll be lucky to even finish now.
With 2 laps to go.
Won't run no more.
Trouble for Joe Ruttman.
And he was told run until it won't run no more.
White flag this time by. Here's Kurt Busch. Yellow is out. Caution, and a truck is in the wall in turn 2. They're going to race back to the line, and remember, this race cannot end under caution. 88's in the fence. Terry Cook.
Boy, Kurt Busch just has to go. Why? Now he's got to do 3 more laps.
Oh, poor Terry Cook had a good run going here today, and instead of pickuptruck.com, they're going to have to put pickupthepieces.com on that.
Hey, he spins it around. Apparently, the tire was down or something.
May I correct myself? Green-white checker is not a 3-lap run. It's
No,
a 2-lap run. Sorry about that.
Just 3 flags.
Yeah.
All right, we're under caution. We're going to come back and finish this off in Loudon, New Hampshire. Stay with us.
Of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is sponsored by Ford Outfitters. No boundaries. Mobile One. Nothing outperforms Mobile One. And by Craftsman. Made in America and guaranteed forever, Craftsman makes anything possible.
Terry Cook's truck being fixed. The Showtime Championship Boxing is next on CBS Sports with 2 big-time bouts. We're about to have a big-time bout right here. Series rules require we end with a green flag, white flag the next time by, and then the checker. You can't end this race under caution, so here's the green. Kurt Busch leads Mike Wallace and Randy Tolsma. They've got a big jump on the field down at turn 1.
Here comes Mike Wallace. The tires are cool right now. He's doing everything he can. No contact as they start off. Kurt Busch gets a great run down the back straightaway.
Tolsma was with them in turn 1, but they've left him by turn 3. It's a 2-truck race.
At least Tolsma doesn't have Biffle right on his bumper the way they did before the caution came out.
White flag, 1 lap to go.
Mike Wallace has anything, he has to show it right now, and I do believe Kurt Busch has a better truck. But here he comes on the inside.
Whoa, they've made contact. He almost spins. Wallace has to get out of the gas.
And here comes Tolsma. Tolsma's got to run. Down to the inside. Wallace blocks. They hit each other, and that gives Busch clear track.
Here comes Biffle on the outside. He's making the move. Cannot do it. Gets up in the loose stuff, falling back. Andy Houston side by side with Biffle.
And they touch and scrambled, and Kurt Busch wins.
It's over. And everybody ran into everybody, but the leader couldn't, Kurt Busch. He wins his second Craftsman truck race in a row. And for truck owner Jack Roush, 5 consecutive victories. 6 of the last 7 races have been won by a Roush Racing Ford.
And that lets you know why Jack Roush has the confidence to move this guy all the way up if he does get that Winston Cup ride next year.
4th runner-up finish of the season for Mike Wallace to go with his 2 victories. There's your front 4 with Tolsma in 3rd and the point leader Greg Biffle in 4th. Andy Houston, Scott Riggs, and Ricky Hendrick. Great run for those 2 youngsters. And Michael Dockett came back for 8th place. Ken Schrader, Marty Houston, Rick Corelli, all on the lead lap, as was Joe Ruttman. Last truck on the lead lap. Rick Crawford a lap down with Steve Grissom. Brad Bennett 2 laps down. Coy Gibbs. And a look on back through the field as Kurt Busch does a little smoke show on the front straightaway. And heads for victory lane for the 2nd week in a row.
He did a better job than he did in Milwaukee. He's had more practice now.
Yeah. Spoiler check by the NASCAR officials. As you look through the running order of the trucks that were not running at the finish.
Most of them were out as a result of crashes.
And he makes his only right turn of the day, the one into victory lane. Dick Berggren's there.
In 1996, Kurt Busch was the street stock champion at Las Vegas Speedway. He has now won 2 in a row. Kurt Busch, congratulations. How have you come so far so fast?
Just an awesome crew. These guys right here, Exide Batteries, Roush Racing, it's unbelievable. Shoot, we got right side tires left over. It's just a great truck, great team. I cannot thank them enough. And Granger's been a great help to us with Biffle over there and all the Cup guys. This is wonderful. I got to thank my crew chief, Matt Chambers. He's awesome.
How about that last lap? How close was that to him putting you right out?
I didn't even know he was down there. I didn't hear the spotter. We had radio trouble all day, but it was a good run. We just got to stay focused, and 2 in a row is awesome. It's unbelievable.
He is focused, Mike Joy.
And a happy 2nd time, 2nd race in a row winner, Kurt Busch. From Las Vegas, his 2nd in a row. He will hold 5th in the point standings behind Greg Biffle. Mike Wallace moves up to 2nd in the standings, and Andy Houston climbs to 3rd at the expense of Jack Sprague. For Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, and Ralph Shaheen, Mike Joy saying so long from New Hampshire International Speedway, where Kurt Busch has won the New Hampshire 200. Coming up next, Showtime Championship Boxing, Golota versus Norris and Tua versus Sullivan. That's next on CBS Sports. Next Saturday, CBS Sports moves to the 3rd mile track in a row, Nazareth Speedway in Pennsylvania with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll see you next Saturday in Pennsylvania.